Welcome back to the MMA Creators Podcast, and today we are joined by the Renaissance man himself, Mr. Jake Fine Media. And a lot of things have happened the last time that we've sort of spoke properly, Jake. The main thing being, you got a skin fade. And after this skin fade, everything just started going sizzler. So for the people that maybe are new to the name of Jake Fine Media in the MMA game, break down a little bit what you've been up to recently, because it's been hectic for you.
Well, what happened was I started dating a Latina, and then everything after that, just my life started improving. I started looking better, and the skin fade came, and yeah, I mean, because there's more to the skin fade story. You know, you guys don't get to see those type of things because I keep everything low key. You know, but everything's been good. I've been making a lot of content, kind of going through a rebrand lately. I wanted to get away from the MMA stuff, not because I don't like MMA. I always feel like a fraud talking about MMA. You know what I mean? So I'm just like I wanted to do something else, and then I started doing these street interviews, and they started going like stupid viral, and that was like a month and a half ago that started, and it's just been crazy.
Leo, you was about to say something.
No, yeah, I was gonna say it's something that popped up for me. I realized I'd seen your street interview stuff before. I think you had that really viral one of talking about that girl in the club or something like that. That popped up on my feed. I was like, oh, that was you. I feel like we all have those sort of full circle moments. I said the same thing about Will once upon a time. But what's that been like for you, transitioning from MMA? Because on this podcast, we realized gradually over time that we just started transitioning more away from MMA specifically and talking about fights and looking at the bigger picture and just speaking as content creators. So I'm just curious, what's that like pivoting so drastically to such a sort of different format?
Well, so the reason I started doing it actually was because I started taking this like mastermind course from this guy Ryan McGinn, who he has a company called I think Viral Accelerator or something, or where he basically like he has like Grant Cardone. He started up Alex Hormozy.
Oh wow, okay.
Running all their social, like he was the guy running social media for Alex Hormozy when Alex Hormozy blew up, and he has this big agency, and he basically teaches people how to run that type of business. So like it's like I think it's a pretty expensive mastermind, but it comes with like 1 hour one-on-one call with him, and then every week there's a weekly group call, and then there's a course also. So I took the course, and then I took the course before my one-on-one with him, and during the one-on-one I was like, I have my like I kind of have my hands in this MMA thing, but I don't know, like I don't really feel like I used to go viral for my hot takes with MMA, but I just feel like that moment has kind of passed, and it just feels corny to me now because I actually know the fighters that I'm talking about, and it's just like they know that I don't know what I'm talking about, so it's just weird. Like I gotta pretend I know what I'm talking about when everyone knows I'm not the most like the fighters should be making those kind of takes, not me.
Yeah.
Um. So I was like, I don't really know what to do, and he was like, "Yo, just start interviewing people," and then he was like, "Interview business owners. A lot of them will turn into your clients because I also have an agency." And it literally like the one clip that you saw about the girl cheating at the bar with that British guy, um that one went in like insanely viral. That was like I had a couple go viral on TikTok first, but I really wanted one to go on Instagram, and then that one just went. I went to sleep, it had 10,000 views. I woke up, it had like 700,000.
Jesus.
And then that same night I went to bed that night, it had like 4 million in 24 hours. And it was
on
like
Instagram as well.
on Instagram.
Yeah.
And then on TikTok, it hit like a week later. Like it didn't hit at the same time on Instagram. But yeah, it's just been crazy. And what I really love about it is I can talk to anybody, and just like I've gotten viral clips with bodybuilders, bar owners, bartenders, hairdressers. Like just I'll talk to literally anybody, personal injury lawyers. And it's like it's never boring. It's like fun for me to try to come up with these questions and then like edit the clips in the most engaging way. So I don't know. I'm just having a lot of fun. I was in Vegas. I tried to interview Marab and Aljo, but they didn't want to. They think I'm too like edgy. They don't want to like fuck the brand up. Like I'm like,
Edgy.
well, like the type of shit I would ask them, I wouldn't ask them like normal questions. I would ask them like, have you ever had to show your dick to like a USADA guy or something? And then like something like that. And then it's just, they don't want to do that. Or like, what is Dana White like behind closed doors? Like that's the type of shit where my head goes. And they're like, bro, we can't touch this. We're still like in the UFC. Like we want to get fights, you know?
Yeah.
So
I mean,
100%.
you said about interviewing anybody. I think that's kind of a skill in itself. Learning that it's not something that anyone has as a talent straight away. I think it's something that has to be perfected and crafted. And just speaking in front of a camera as a sort of extension of that is another element. How do you, or rather, is there an element of doing that and perfecting this craft of speaking to random people and just going up to strangers? What's the hardest part of doing that?
Well, honestly, none of it is, it's all planned out ahead of time. So
Okay.
I've tried doing like the street interview style. I actually did this the other day where I went to like this really popular park near NYU, New York University, and I set up a table with a poster, and the poster said, like, tell me a story, I'll give you $5. And I was just recording it. But like none of it really came out good, and I realized all my best interviews are like pretty planned ahead of time. Like the person and I meet up as a planned meeting, and then I tell them everything like that I'm trying to accomplish with the interview, and then they come up with stuff that fits my criteria. So like it's never random. Most of the stuff I know, like most of the stories I actually know ahead of time, and I'm asking them questions to, or at least they know the question is going to be within that subject matter. And they already, I'll be like, hey, think of a story. For example, I want to talk to a divorce lawyer. And I had one guy, but he's kind of flaky, so I'm going to try to find another one. But I sent him a list of questions, and I was like, yo, think of any like really juicy stories that you have from your experience as a divorce lawyer to answer these questions, because stories will do the best. Or like mind-blowing facts. Stories or mind-blowing facts always do the best. So, or like hot takes, that type of shit. But yeah, no, it's very random. Or it's very not random at all.
I like that you said that, because I think people see videos like yourself, Jake, and they think that you've just gone up to this guy randomly on the street, had a little chin wag, and next thing you know, he's dropped this gem on you. But it's clever, right?
Chin
because
wag?
you chin wag, you know,
Yo, you British motherfuckers.
We don't
have
say
the
that, man. I've
craziest
never used
shit.
that word ever.
Yo. Funny story. I'm gonna let you finish, but I have to say this. Yo, when I was in London, I was hanging out with Paul. You know Paul. And he goes, some guy walks by and he thinks he's hot shit, and Paul goes, oh, that guy thinks he's the dog's bollocks, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I go, what the fuck did you just say? Dog's bollocks?
Sounds about right, to be fair. That's
That shit
pretty
is,
on par.
bro. I was dying laughing. That shit is. You guys don't realize how funny you sound. But anyway, finish your question.
Chin wag, you know? Do you know what that is, first and foremost?
No.
Just a conversation. Just a conversation. Just a light-hearted, informal chat. That's how I would put that.
Like
a little
today.
chin wag. Yeah, this is an informal chin wag. But coming back to what I was originally going to say, I think a lot of people look at those videos and think they're just completely off the cuff and candid. But what you just said there is smart, because you can plan it so you kind of give the parameters of the conversation, but you actually still keep the storytelling and still keep the information organic. And if you just go up to a random person, it's very hard to actually pull out and extract that piece of value for a very good video. But we're going to jump around so many places here, because I've got a lot of things to ask you. We've got a lot of things to chop up. We're going to get into it. Thing I want to ask you, you spoke there about the mastermind, and I've personally used things like this before, and I was very standoffish to this sort of stuff until I'd used one which was good, and then I saw the value. Just from your perspective, what were some of the main takeaways from actually going into that mastermind that you spoke about?
Um, there's like basically the whole point of the mastermind is to teach you how to go viral and like make your clients go viral. And it's pretty predictable. Like that's what I realized is that there's ingredients to going viral. It's not it can happen by accident obviously, but um I took that course and I got like 40 million views the next 4 weeks after that course.
Mm.
So because from the stuff I took from there. So like I guess some takeaways are like yeah, it's all very it's very long-winded. So I guess like the things that I learned was how to make an effective hook, how to like what are the ingredients to a viral piece of video is like a great hook. It has to be timely, like stuff that's going viral already or like is like world like big news. Like if something's popping off in London and you talk about it, it's more likely to go viral. I'm trying to think. It's more like how to edit the videos. It's very technical stuff. Like they literally break down how they like timestamp a video, what they keep in, what they cut out.
Mm.
The way you formulate a question, how to screen a client and see what stuff that they naturally talk about will go viral, and then you kind of like you almost like they teach you how to look for it. It's a great course. It's like $1,000 a month for the mastermind, but it's like it's paid off. I made that back on TikTok last month, and I've gotten a bunch of clients from the success that the information has allowed me to achieve. So
That's something that people don't speak about as well, right? Because usually they see the price of these things. And again, there's a lot of frauds out there. So that's the thing. There's good value
Yeah.
out there, and there's also just scam artists as well. So it's about finding the right ones. But like you said, this guy's got crazy social proof. Alex Hormozy was absolutely flipping, well, still is crushing it. And if you do go in wholeheartedly, you can make, like you just said, make the money back within a matter of days, which is kind of insane. But that kind of leads me on to my next question for you. I wanted to speak about it when we were on FaceTime the other day, Jake, but I thought I'd hold out for it. What's the general plan or scope of your business now that you've sort of segued away from MMA? You spoke about doing this type of content and you touched upon your agency. What does that look like? What's the grand sort of picture with that for you?
So my goal my goal would be to do two things by the end of 2025. One, get as famous as possible from this format. I think I'm good at it, and I think I have like a good format here. Like it's probably hard to tell, but I do kind of have like a lane that I'm following. Like I'm talking to a certain type of person, I'm asking a certain type of question, and I think I could build a good brand. And then the nice thing about my content is, like I said, a lot of the people who I interview become clients of my agency. So I think I kind of realized this the other day, like the business model for me is get as many of the interviews done for my social media. And that is the one thing that's going to grow my business the most. Like, so I'm going to interview as many of these like professionals as possible, build my personal brand. It's extremely cheap for me to do. I film most of the interviews myself. All the viral videos I filmed myself on a tripod. So it's very low cost. I can do it all the time. Everyone will say yes to it. Imagine you're running a business, you're busy as hell, and some kid goes, "Hey, I've got 40 million views last month. Can I interview you for free?" You're gonna say yeah, like unless you just don't like free exposure. And then, so it's not hard for me to get people to interview. And then usually while I'm interviewing them, I can just kind of like drop that I have an agency and I do this for other businesses, and then they always hit me up. Like I don't even pitch it to them. I just kind of say, yeah, I do this for other businesses. This is this is my work. And it's been growing like crazy. So I think it's like a two-pronged thing. One, keep crushing these interviews, and then two, that's just going to keep growing my business, and I'm just going to keep hiring people and keep scaling it up.
Does that desire for fame, does that come from a business mindset or a personal mindset, or both?
Business. I think fame is the best personal. I think it's the best business model.
Do you not feel like it's a bit of a double-edged sword in some capacity?
I'm
just
not.
with
I
that
don't think. I don't
notoriety.
think I'll get so famous that it's like debilitating my life. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
but like, and also the nice thing is I'm not the one saying anything. I'm just asking the questions. Like the only risk I take is um like if someone says something really controversial, I'm kind of like allowing them the platform. But if it's really that bad, I just won't post it. But like nothing is really a reflection of me because I'm just asking questions. So it's like my job is literally just go viral. And it's not that I want to be famous or like I need this like attention. I really don't
Yeah.
care about that. I just like I like playing the game of will this video go viral?
Yeah.
Can I make this video
You're
go
sort of
viral?
like, the way I'd probably describe it is almost like a medium for storytelling. Right. I guess that
Yeah.
translates perfectly into the MMA stuff you were doing as well. Being a videographer, I can sort of relate to that too with my YouTube content. I like to tell the stories and sort of remain as an unbiased sort of storyteller in a lot of ways. And I guess with your MMA work, working with Aljo and Marab, you know, I guess it's in a similar vein. I was just wondering, could you elaborate on that journey, how you got into it, working with those guys, and what it's been like for you?
Yeah, so when I started working for Aljo, I had like I don't want to say big TikTok talking about MMA, but it was like I had like 10,000 followers or something. I was getting a lot of views on my TikToks. I think at the time I reached out to Aljo, I had like 1 million views a week, which is like it's solid. Um, and Aljo had the podcasts, and I knew somebody who knew him directly. So I DM'd him and I was like, hey, I know this guy. I've done some video work for him. Here's my numbers on TikTok. I think I could do this for your podcast. I'll do it for free. Um, I'm in MMA, so I think I could like do this pretty effectively for you. And he actually responded and he was like, yeah, sure. Like, let's run it. And then like I was like, let me know when you want to like talk or figure out how to do this. A couple months go by and he never hit me up. I sent him another message. I was like, hey, any update? He was like, I haven't had the time to get to this. I'm sorry. So I'm like, fuck it. A couple months go by. I hit him up again. And then he's like, yeah, I'm still looking for somebody. Okay, cool. He starts sending me the podcast after he records it. I edit it. I upload it for him. At the time, he had somebody else doing the thumbnails, so I would just upload and coordinate with him. I was basically doing that for 8 months, like for free. And he asked me, he was like, hey, I want to start taking this more seriously. Let me know what your rates are. Sorry. Let me know what your rates are. So I go, I think I was like, when he asked me that, I was like, all right, I'll let you know by the end of the weekend. And I was like really worried that like whatever number I was gonna say was gonna like turn him off, because he said I'm talking to a couple other people too. So I was like, I don't want to like get beat out by some cheap fuck who's willing to do it for free like me and lose the opportunity. So I was like, I'll just keep doing it for free. Just please like give me a cooler opportunity down the line. Like I was like, I'll be candid with you. I'm like looking for something bigger with you. So I'd rather keep this job. And he's like, all right, cool. Aljo likes keeping his money, so he's very frugal, like not frugal, but he's very smart with his money. So like, if it's free, it's for me. That's his slogan. So we do that for a couple more months, and then the rematch with Peter Yan was coming up. So I was like, hey man, I have an idea for you. Can I give you a call? He's like, yeah. I'm like, if you want someone to come film your vlogs for fight camp or make a documentary for you, I'd love to do it. And at first it was like just to do like documentary stuff. I wasn't like to do anything on his YouTube channel. And he's like, all right, I'll keep you in mind. 3 weeks before the fight, he calls me and he's like, yo, you want to come up to New York? I'm like, yeah. Problem is, I literally just like had a surgery on my nutsack because I was doing
Did not know this.
taekwondo. Really?
Did
I
not
thought you
know
did
this.
know that. Yeah.
Did not know this.
Yo,
Such
it's
a
like
curveball out of nowhere.
yeah.
Pardon the pun.
So backstory. I was doing taekwondo at the time. I was documenting it on my TikTok. I just got my yellow belt. I was about to do my first tournament. and I'm sparring this kid who's a purple belt. He's this like long, lanky motherfucker, and I was fucking him up. And he throws a spinning back kick while I'm shuffling to my left, and I didn't have a cup on, and it perfectly clipped my left testicle. And bro, I instantly fell to the ground. Hot flashes, cold flashes. I feel like I'm gonna throw up. Couldn't breathe. 30 minutes later, I'm in worse pain than I was when I got kicked. And long story short, I ended up having surgery to like. When I went into surgery, I thought they were gonna remove my nut. They ended up like sewing it back because it was like leaking blood into my scrotum, and they ended up like sewing my ball back shut, like, and that was probably the most painful option. It would have been much less painful if they just removed it. But I wake up from the surgery and I'm like, they told me it was either going to be removed or they were going to cut off half of it. Best case scenario, I have half of a left testicle. So I'm like,
such a fascinating thing to wake up to. I don't know what I'm going to get. Am I going to get half or zero?
So yo, I'm like, they start putting me under. I remember going under. I wake up, my mom's next to me. They can only have one guest next to me. I wake up, my mom's next to me in the hospital. And I'm like, do I still have a left nut? And she's like, or I was like, did they remove it? And she was like, no, they actually saved the whole thing. And I was like, oh, fuck. And then she was like, it's going to be a lot more painful of a recovery though. I'm like, all right, well, at least I have 2 balls. That's cool, you know? By the way, if you're ever working with fighters, don't let them know that you only have, like, you have a compromised ball, because they will make fun of you until the sun goes down every day about that. Marab calls me one ball sometimes.
One take.
Anyway, so that just happened. Where do you think they got that from? Nah. So that just happened 2 weeks before. I was just getting back on my feet. Like I wasn't able to walk for a week and a half, really. And then I was just getting to be able to walk without crutches. I could like do elliptical at the gym. Aljo calls me. Yo, you want to come to New York?
Elliptical.
Bro, I can't even fly on a plane because the pressure in the cabin could fuck up my blood and cause him an aneurysm from this surgery, bro. I'm not even kidding.
That's crazy.
I had to drive to New York. I stayed with my uncle.
Commitment to the cause.
I mean, bro, this was like a life-changing opportunity. So I like told my dad, I was like, yo, I'm going to go to New York tomorrow. He's like, what the fuck? No, you're not. I'm like, yes, I am. Like, Aljo's calling. And I end up going. Aljo's manager gives me a call and he's like, hey, like, I know you want to make a documentary, but like, I think this footage should go on YouTube. Can you make like a daily vlog during fight week? And I'm like, yeah, sure. I start doing it. And then Aljo's like, damn, I really love these vlogs. I would love to do this more. And I was like, I randomly just blurted out. I was like, you could hire me full time. And next thing you know, I'm packing my bags, breaking up with my girlfriend, moving to New York. And the rest is history. So
don't ask, you don't get.
She was not Latina
at all. No, she was white.
Well, this was where the problem was. No skin fade, no Latina. That's a subpar Jake Fine doing taekwondo matches and giving.
What about your diet? What about your food intake? What's the change been like there?
Definitely less of a fat ass, but still a fat ass. I work out a lot more.
I had a question for you, Jake. I know we're jumping all over the place a little bit, but I just want to go back to what you said earlier. I just want to get into want to ask a couple more questions just in the weeds, a little bit more of the agency, just out of my own personal curiosity, because obviously I do a similar thing, right? In regards to, it's essentially social media agency for people that are listening. So you work with a client and then you work with them on a different level. So sometimes you just create videos for them. Sometimes you create all of their social media and publish it for them. My question for you is, firstly, how do you structure your offering? is it a case of, okay, I just do one offering, which is I take all of their social media and do it all for them? Or is it a layered approach? And my second question off the back of that, are you trying to, you kind of mentioned it, are you trying to basically get as many clients as you possibly can, bring people on to work for you, outsource it out, scale like that? Are you trying to potentially just have one or two good clients and work with them? Or are you maybe looking to create a digital product and scale it like that? So you're not necessarily outsourcing the editing and things, you're outsourcing more the knowledge and scaling it. I know that's a bit of a long question, but I'm interested.
Okay. So there's like kind of all of the above. So I have one product at one price point. And so my product is 40 clips per month. We shoot it all in one day. I edit it all for you. I post it all for you. I only do that. And there's one price for it. So that's my agency. If you wanted more content, I would just raise the price. But so my goal is definitely I don't think get as many clients as possible, because I don't know if I would enjoy that. But definitely get a lot of clients. Like, I would like to get that to like 50,000-60,000 a month revenue. And I think I could handle that at a pretty low cost. Like, to me, like, I think I could pretty much do most of that by myself and some virtual assistants. So there's that. And then the other thing is, like, my price point is pretty high for that. So a lot of like small business owners, they don't take that. Like, they can't afford it. So but I still want to help them, and I actually think like I have a lot to offer to them. So what I'm going to start doing is building a community, like a school community, like $100 a month or something, and just teach business owners how to run their social media themselves and like make money. I know a guy who makes $1 million a year selling like signs. Like, he makes signs for like the front of like a building, and at like 50% profit margin. All he does is make the videos himself. He like talks about signs all fucking day. And then the videos that overperform, by overperform I mean instead of 500 views they get 2,000. He just puts them as a Facebook ad in his local area, puts $5 to $15 a day, and he's printing money, bro. 50%. He's making 500,000 a year doing that profit, like, after he pays employees. And that's like one of all through social media. So I'm going to teach people how to do that on this school community, something like that. And because I'm getting all this traffic, all I do is talk to like professionals or business owners, people who run businesses, and I make them go viral. I'm just going to teach people how to do it themselves. This way, if they can't afford a guy like me, and then they can make a bunch of money. So I think it's a good offer.
The reason I asked that as well, there's obviously a lot of people that have made information more of a digital product and then scaled it. But as what you touched upon there, which is so true, what happens when you just start getting more clients is obviously you get more of a headache, and also you only service people of a certain price point. So that's why I wanted to find out if you were going to sort of make a product or a school community, like you said, because that's kind of the Alex Hormozi model again. I'm sure that you've heard of the time where he basically cracked the code of how to grow gyms, right? And then he was going around to all these gyms and helping all these gyms, but then realizing, hold up, I can just sell the information. I can package this up, sell the information, and I don't have to fly out, spend 6 weeks there. I can literally just sell them the package of info, which sort of sounds like the route you want to go down as well, right?
Well, it's like I definitely want to keep my agency, even if it's like more time consuming, because it helps. I think it keeps me sharp, and it pays well.
100%.
I don't want to build a huge fucking like national agency. Like, that's not my goal. I think also I could help a lot more people if I just sell the info for a lower price point. Because also, like, I have sales calls with people, and I'll say my price, and they're like, yeah, no, I can't do that, and I don't have anything else to sell them. So I think like if I had something super cheap to sell them where they could still like get their social media lick, I could just sell them right to that. They see it's an easy sell, you know, especially because I'm getting the results myself. So it's just another like I think that's going to be the big money maker. I have a friend who he has like a big thing he offers, but he also teaches people like a smaller version of that on his school community. He makes like 12,000 a month doing that.
Damn.
So
I'm gonna
On
get into that.
going back just a second, because there's one thing that you sort of glossed over, but I do want to bring it back up because it's important, and you mentioned it a couple of times, right? I think one thing, and I'm sure I would have said this to you before, Jake, in some capacity, but one thing with you, and one thing that you see with anyone that's getting a lot of opportunities online, is they minimize the downside and they maximize the upside of what the offer is. So, for example, when you reached out to Aljo, the downside is completely minimized. You're not asking for anything, you're not taking anything. You've reached out to him, you'll do the edits, you'll get it all posted for him. And then, even with what you said more recently with the agency work, same thing, right? Hey, this is what I do. I would like to do an interview. It will take 3 minutes of your time. The downside is completely capped. There's limited downside, but the upside is just infinite. And then you can just basically create this funnel for all of your clients through your work. So you're leveraging your own brand. I think going back to what you said earlier is when you said, I want to be famous, I think really, I'm just guessing here maybe, but I think what you mean by that really is you realized with the guys that you've worked with and the stuff that you've done, fame can be leverage. And you just want as much leverage as humanly possible, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong.
well, it's more like the opportunity we have right now with social media, I've realized is like, I feel like it's a closing window. Like, it's not always going to be like this. I think social media is going to be like television, where it's like, it's a mainstay in our culture, but it's not always going to be this like land grab that we have right now, where it's going to be easy to amass a huge following of people who like you. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but like everybody has an MMA page now. You got in at a pretty good time and you've been able to land grab a lot of that. And now you've got this like kind of unstoppable momentum where you're just growing at this rapid clip. But if you started that today, it would be a lot harder, I think, to get to where you are
way harder
in this timeline. You know what I mean?
Especially on YouTube. I think like even though Will's only been doing it a year longer than I have. I've been doing it for a bit over 2 years, over 3, right, Will? And particularly on YouTube, because I'm very much just honed in on that platform doing long form videos. It's like exploded, and obviously that's partly aided due to guys like MMA Guru and those sort of popular figures. But everyone is trying to trend chase and follow that, and now the niche is just so packed full of people, regurgitating the same content. So you're right, it is harder. There's a lot more competition.
Exactly, and it's like I think 5 years ago on social media, it was so because there was such a gap of content. Like all you had to do was like get on there and talk and you were going to gain followers. Now it's like your shit has to be good. You have to know how to make content. And like that's a huge, like when social media came out, that technology was, I don't think like people realized how great of an opportunity that was. Like you see guys like Gary Vee, they've become household names because they took that opportunity, and it's that opportunity is narrowing. In 5 years, it's going to be so much harder than it is today. So when I say I want to get fame, it's not like I don't care like about being known and stuff. I just think like being able to amass a following and market to them and make your build your own personal brand, that opportunity is going to only get harder and harder. So I just take it very seriously. Like there's probably nothing better in business than having a personal brand, and I want to make sure I get as much of that as I can before it's impossible, before there's like before it's too difficult, so go ahead.
I think you're spot on. I think it's something that a lot of people overlook is a personal brand. It is a massively overlooked part of the business. But that kind of circles back to what you were speaking about earlier with Aljo. When you get the green light to say, right, okay, now we're working full time, did you go into that with a plan of action of, right, okay, this is what I want to do for your socials and this is what we want to do? Or was it a case of, right, I'm just going to take some vlogs and see what happens? What's the game plan?
There was like a game plan in terms of this is how much content we want to get. Like we want X amount of vlogs per week, X amount of podcasts per week. And the only like I started only focusing on his channel. I would get other opportunities for like money, and I would turn them down because I thought it might interfere with what I'm doing for him. And I just took that opportunity extremely seriously for like 2 years straight. Like I didn't really care about anything else. My only goal was like, I mean, also Aljo was the champion. So it was like we had like that was a limited window as well. So I was like, let me just ride this out. Um, while the iron is hot. Let me strike while the iron is hot. And there wasn't a huge game plan. It was just like get as many like just get it, make the best content, make the cover his life the best. And I do think honestly, like when we were going at our full clip, we had some of the best MMA content out. Like Volk's videographer came up to me when we were
Jake.
in Abu Dhabi for. Can you hear me?
Jake.
Oh, Jake. Yeah. Volk's videographer
Jake.
came up to me and
Yeah.
he was like, "You guys have the best content in MMA YouTube." Like, because we were going hard, like trying to make the best, most beautiful videos, like most intimate vlogs. And I think we achieved something really cool with that. But it was I would like no specific game plan. It was just like I'm gonna kill this shit, So
I think it's one of those things where the quality of the video will eventually prevail. You just will see innate success. If the video quality stands out amongst everyone else in the niche, eventually it will come to the fore. I spoke to a few creators about that because, I've started pivoting from a more quantity point of view to doing much more in-depth, higher quality, the best stuff I can make that I know is better than everyone else's. And even if the video on YouTube might not pick up straight away, eventually the algorithm will pick it up because it knows, the metrics do well, the retention is good, etc., etc. So
yeah.
I think there is an element of that. I'm sure you take away, right, when you're doing those vlogs and creating that really high quality content.
Well, yeah, and I mean also like when Aljo's got a fight coming up, he's like the views just go up because like people are talking about him. His name is being circulated more. The UFC's putting out his name more, so it's just like he comes up in search a lot more, and then YouTube pushes him more. But it was like I didn't really ever look at like the analytics, because like it's like I feel like if you start doing that, you kind of have to like you have to like base your whole video off of that, and that's really hard to do when you're making a vlog. Like I can't like optimize for retention time when I'm doing a training camp vlog. Like a Mr.
It's a
Beast
fine
video
line, right?
is optimized for retention time.
Yeah, you almost lose that that element of creativity and personal touch if you chase an algorithm and if you chase viewership and trends so much to a point. At least that's how I feel. There's a sort of fine line you've got to ride where you're keeping your creative integrity whilst trying to put everything in your favor with regards to YouTube systems and metrics and stuff.
Well, that's what I do now with my content is chase I'm hyper analytical about everything. Like as soon as the video goes up, I'm like watching how many people watch past the first 3 seconds, the average watch time, and I'm like paying attention to all that shit for like the first 5 hours. But like that's the goal now. The goal for Aljo was like, it was also kind of like I want my kids to see this one day. It wasn't all just views and money.
Of course,
it was like, let's document this cool ass shit he's doing and try to, take everything we can get out of it. So
I think as well, something that people, I guarantee you've experienced this, Jake, but something a lot of people don't really speak about or maybe notice is the content also gets better as the relationship builds with the subject. The longer you spend with these people, the more comfortable they are with you and vice versa, the more immersive the content is. So you said there you made very intimate content. You did. And it got even more so towards the back end of you doing it because the relationship, I noticed, got so much stronger. Did you feel that in live speed?
Oh yeah. When I started working with Aljo, like it was kind of weird. Like I moved into his house, but he still didn't know me that well. So it was like, we weren't like super close. Now I would say we're like we're good friends. He's like a big brother, but so I can kind of like poke and prod at him in a way that I wouldn't be comfortable with before, where like, I don't want to piss him off or something. But yeah, now it's like it's definitely like a closer dynamic. And like my friend who's a filmmaker, he like just graduated film school a couple of years ago. He was telling me like he feels like Aljo's channel is like how it's like seeing Aljo through Jake's eyes. Like that's what he feels when he's watching it. So and I look back at it and it kind of is like it's almost like seeing like it's like you get to see him through my perspective versus just like an objective perspective, because I'm kind of part of the videos too, because I'll ask him stuff and he'll answer, and it's like it's almost filmed like how I see. It's like I'm trying to make you see Aljo how I see Aljo, because I feel like Aljo has this like bad reputation in the MMA world. And I that was always one of my goals too, was like make people like him more, because people stopped liking him after the Yan thing. But
I never understood that either. We've always been, I feel like we've on this podcast championed him quite a lot, because all that hate I feel was very much unjust. You know, he was in a lose-lose situation.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
Cause I get it. I get why fans like turned on him, and I'll tell him like, bro, you did look like you were faking it there. Like you did kind of look crazy. And he's like, he'll even be like, yeah, I know, I did look crazy, but
I mean, it doesn't even matter. He won the rematch. That was always my logic. When he beat Piotr Jan at 273, and it was a close fight, but I think I picked him in that fight, and I thought he won the fight. Yeah, 3-2. But at that point, the discussion's over. You know, he's completely vindicated. But you know, goes back to what you said. For some reason, there's just always been that.
He got awarded a decision.
Exactly. It's just people always look for a way. They find a way to hate, and it's ridiculous.
It's a good point that you brought up a second ago, Jake, because that is true, right? Is not just for you in this instance, but whenever you have a filmmaker and someone that does the edit as well, you actually are kind of seeing this person through the lens of the filmmaker, because they're the ones knowing what parts they want to capture, what they want to edit in, what they want to edit out, the sort of pacing, the storytelling, which again comes back to personal branding, because then when people see certain videos, they know, okay, Jake Fine has worked on that, or vice versa. In regards to the actual job itself, I think something people would find quite interesting is, what did an actual day look like for you? What would a standard day look like in the life of Jake Fine Media? It used to actually be Taekwondo guy. It used to be something like that. Taekwondo Jake.
Marab gave me that name because of the nut injury.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The day would be, I wake up and I literally ask Aljo, what are we doing today? And that's what I'm doing every day. Like I eat when like his schedule allows it. Like I go where he wants to go. I film whatever he's doing. And literally I like when he had the Henry fight, and that was like, I did that for like 8 weeks straight. And then he won, and then they announced the O'Malley fight. He pretty much had to get right back into camp. So I basically did that for like 4 or 5 months straight.
Jesus.
And that right after the O'Malley fight is when I kind of was like, yo, I need to chill, bro. Like I gotta try some other shit. Like, because that was basically like a 6-month run we were on. Title fight, which is like, means like it's the most going on. And then I was with him like for a year and a half before that. So that's when I kind of like started pivoting and doing my agency and stuff like that. That was like a year and a half ago when that finished.
I don't think a lot of people quite realize how much attention goes into a UFC fight in general, but if it's a championship fight, that is just 20x. And obviously people listening to this is very exciting and it's fun, and you get to travel these places and meet cool people. But as you'll know, just touch upon some of the tougher sides of that job, because it isn't easy and it is a grind. And like you said there, that was kind of like 4 or 5 months just flat. What would you say is one of the trickier parts of that?
Bro, do you see these bags under my eyes?
I thought you looked gleaming, to be honest. I thought you looked, you were radiating.
Those weren't there before. Those weren't there before I got that job. Like I definitely aged from that job a lot, because when we would put out a lot of content. It would be like vlogs, which is like, so I'm filming the vlogs all day. I can't duplicate myself. So I literally have to be like, even if I'm not holding the camera, pressing record all day, I don't have time to like edit during the day or anything. I'm literally just following him around, which in itself is exhausting. Like kind of having to be on, like have your brain on all day. And then like I'm editing at night. So like that's cutting into my sleep. And for a while, like I would pull all-nighters, like especially during fight week, bro. Like fight week, I would sleep like 2 hours a night. Like I would be like drinking
Shit.
Monster at midnight just to stay awake to get a vlog up the next day. Like I definitely like aged myself. Like some of those weeks I probably aged like a year. I'm not even kidding. Like, and then it would be like go out and party after the fight.
Oh,
like,
poor you.
No, but like,
Oh.
I'm just saying, like, it wasn't like an easy on the body job. Like it wasn't like it was definitely like a lot of like go alcohol, go, and then travel, fly here, fly there. Very fun, but like I can't like pull all-nighters anymore. Like I just like you can't like motivate me to do that. Like there was something
You're not
like
built
about
for it anymore.
me being 21, 22, like getting this sick opportunity. It like lit a fire under my ass. I would do anything to keep the job and like do a good job and like keep those guys happy. And like when I'm filming his fight weeks now, it's like, bro, I'm not like doing that anymore. Like I can't, you can't ask that of me anymore. Like, but
Mate.
like I don't think I physically can't do that anymore. It's like,
How do you
like,
counteract that then? How do you sort of overcome that obstacle now?
I just don't work as hard. I just can't. Like I can't do daily vlogs during fight week anymore. Like
Is that a sacrifice to output or quality?
He doesn't. It's just less output. Yeah, less output.
Yeah. Okay.
He doesn't care.
I can
though.
relate
Like,
to that.
when you're fighting Sean O'Malley, you put out a vlog every day because that's the most attention you're ever gonna get. But
Supposedly.
you know when you're fighting Mofsar, it's not as dire of a situation. It's not as like, you know what I mean? Not to shit on Mofsar or anything. It's just like
No, I get you.
It's not as much demand. But
Understanding fight week is the most ridiculously intense time, even for the guys in the media. I always think with just the people that are running the media in the UFC, even the third party people that come in there, they're filming, spending all day at the scrums, then they have to go back to the hotel room, get all edited, dialed. It's a lot. And this is kind of a slight segue, but just changing the beat a little bit, because you mentioned earlier, Jake, and we won't take up too much of your time because I know that it's the morning there, and we got you out of bed earlier than expected, which is my fault. Which is my fault massively. But I just wanted to get your take or your 2 cents on the recent situation with the UFC and of course their TV deal.
yeah, so bro, I think they should get rid of the pay-per-view model. I kind of think if they do sign with Netflix, it's gonna be just a streaming thing. Like I hope. I said this like 2 years ago. I think because of streaming sites, the pay-per-view model is gonna die, and no one's gonna spend $80 on a pay-per-view when I could just watch like a shitty stream for free. If it was $15 or $20, I'll buy the pay-per-view because I'd rather have the high quality, and most people can afford that. I think that would save it, but they could do like 3 Super Bowl type events every year. You know, like the Super Bowl got 135 million viewers. Jake Paul, Mike Tyson got 110 million, I'm pretty sure. If Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, retired pothead, mushroom head Mike Tyson, can get 120 million viewers concurrently, the UFC could put on Pereira John Jones and it's like a Super Bowl level event.
Yeah.
For all over the world. And the type of advertising dollars you could do, I think it would completely surpass a pay-per-view. Imagine Conor coming back and the whole world can watch it for $15.
Yeah.
Like,
even less than that. I mean, as UK fans, I'm kind of speaking for you here, Will, but I'm sure you would agree. we've always found the pay-per-view system, at least in the US, so archaic. I mean, I think the prices are crazy. I think there's one silver lining to being a UK MMA fan, even though we have to stay up till 6:30 in the morning every Saturday, is that apart from 2 events a year, 3 at most, we don't have to pay anything on top of our initial sort of subscription package. So the same way you guys pay for ESPN Plus, you don't even get all the fights of that. We have the equivalent, but we pretty much get every fight card and pay-per-view with it as a sort of package deal.
Yeah.
Again, that does come with staying up very late, so I guess that is the drawback. But that is the system that I could definitely see them moving to, or as you said, on Netflix, which I think, judging by what I've heard the rumors of, looks like a very realistic possibility.
Yeah, no, I think that's the move, man. Because like, I was talking to a manager once, and he told me that like when it was like when I think when Khabib fought McGregor or something, like when some Russian guy was fighting a big pay-per-view, it sold like 20 million pay-per-views in Russia, but they don't count those because they're not over a certain price. They're like $9. So they don't count that when they count the pay-per-views. They only count UK, US, and Australia. Or like anything over $20 or something, they count it as a pay-per-view buy. So like there was like, I think when Chael fought Silva, it did like 9 million buys in Brazil or something. But it's like $8, $7. But still, that like
that's still an insane amount of money.
The UFC is fucking way bigger than they make it seem. Like, I think it, so again, our Super Bowl got 130 million viewers. You could do that a few times a year if you're the UFC, and have just insane like cultural relevance if you're putting out those type of numbers. And I just think like they should do that. Like, start competing with the biggest sports in the world, like the World Cup, the Super Bowl. Like, that's, to me, like that's where like you should be rubbing up against those guys.
Yeah, the UFC has that. That's an advantage it has because of its roster. It's international. It can reach pretty much every corner of the world if it wants to. If they have the means to do it. It's just a matter of whether they really act on it. And as you said, I think moving to a streaming service or a more accessible platform is only going to aid them in doing that. So I'm fully on board.
I mean, I feel like they'll make more money.
Yeah, I agree in the long run.
Yeah. So
I think as well,
Go ahead.
Go on, Jake. No, I was just going to say as well, the timing on it is perfect, right? Because they had the whole blunder with UFC 313 where you couldn't even buy it. Bearing in mind that's that Alex Pereira card, which is at the moment, the sort of biggest star possible in the sport and reaching a very global audience. But I guess that kind of, to sort of wrap it up there, talking about a global audience, I know we've jumped all over the place with the convo, but just from your perspective, Jake, next time we chat, what would you like to see personally or professionally for yourself, maybe over the next business quarter?
100 million views across platforms. In the next quarter, yeah.
We can make it bigger. We can make it 6 months, quarter, 2 quarters, something like that.
Yeah. Okay. So like 100 million views across all platforms would be good. I think that's doable, especially over 6 months. And then just growing my business, getting a bunch of clients, just having success with that. I think those 2 things, like that's the main thing I'm focusing on. Also, like, maybe lose some weight, get some.
You're at that. I think you're at that. You're at that good balance now, where it's kind of got a little, like a little density to you.
I don't want to be as shredded as you, but I'm definitely like, I got a little gut right now. I gotta.
Shame in that.
I gotta tone it down a little.
I'm looking dialed at the moment.
I went on a run last night, and bro, it was bad. I was out of shape, dude. It was not good. Like,
you get on the mats, man. That's probably the best way.
Nah, I don't like doing that. No. I'm not a fighter.
No.
First of all, I don't like sweaty dudes interfacing with me so closely. That's just not for me.
It's not pleasant. I'll say that. To be
fair. Then I've already been kicked in the balls and in striking, so I'm good on that too.
You got to find a new home, a new martial art. You got one.
Hit the weights.
One that resonates with you.
I hit the weights. I run.
Yeah, hit the weights. Yeah,
that works.
Yeah, some Stairmaster.
The elliptical. When you said that, that made me laugh. You're like one of those middle-aged mums before she gets in a Range Rover on the elliptical.
Bro, I had to fucking, my ball. I had to be careful,
No, 100%. Can't be going on those Stairmasters. But right, Jake, plug all your socials, and we'll wrap up there.
Jake Fine Media on all platforms. I think Facebook is something else, but don't look me up on Facebook. TikTok and Instagram are Jake Fine Media. I'm on the Weekly Scraps Alja's podcast. You can check me out there. Let's fucking go.
Beautiful, Jake. Absolute pleasure as always. Keep crushing it, mate. It's been fun to watch your journey, because even though we've actually never met in person, we've kept in touch for pretty much ever since I started this journey, really, and probably similar to you. Yeah,
you, man. You're crushing it right now.
I think we both are, to be honest, or we all are. Right? That's the exciting thing, right? We're all sort of in a different lane, but we're all very, very intent on absolutely smashing it and being that sort of new era of the media. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what the future's got in hold for you. As always, you can catch us every Sunday. This is actually a Monday on the MMA Creators Podcast. Keep it casual.